All right, hi guys. Welcome back to the Honey Pop. My name is Brittany. I'm one of the co-owners here, and today we are speaking with Dean Lewis. Dean Lewis, if you don't know, he is blowing up on TikTok with his song called "How Do I Say Goodbye." It is a beautiful, beautiful work of art, and definitely hits us in our feels. It's about his father who was diagnosed with cancer and is thankfully now in remission. Um, so we got to talk about that. We got to talk about kind of his journey, and then also kind of being vulnerable in music and the different like algorithms of music and all that kind of stuff. So we talked about a lot of things, and then we also got to speak about his upcoming tour. So he is going to Australia, New Zealand, Europe. They just announced Canada, and they're going to be announcing North America very soon, which we are very excited about because I will definitely be at the audience of the Texas date. So I'm very, very excited about that. But yeah, we got to talk about his new album and kind of things that he's learned about producing. He had to work remote and learn how to record his vocals by himself, and also while working with various producers on the music. And so we're just very excited and very honored that we got to speak with him today. And so without further ado, let's get into the interview. So first off, welcome to the Honey Pop. We're so happy you're here with us today. Um,
Thanks for having me.
and so for our first kind of question, we kind of like to kind of give you the floor to kind of introduce yourself in your own words.
Okay, sweet. Thanks for having me. My name is Dean Lewis. I'm from Australia. I'm a singer-songwriter. Um, I had a big song a few years ago called Be Alright, and then there was nothing happening for the last 3 years. And then I put a song out about my dad recently called How Do I Say Goodbye? And it blew up on TikTok, and now I'm back. I'm back. So, but here I am. So, talking to you.
Yay! Okay, so speaking of, so your album, it just came out in November, and you got to work
Yeah.
with some incredible producers while also kind of working remotely. So what is something that you've learned from working with them while also kind of having to work that remote and not being in the same room with them?
Yeah, I think a lot of artists learned how to like record a lot more. For me, it was like learning how to do my vocals on my own because I couldn't go everywhere. So I did a bunch of songs like that. I produced, there's one song I did basically just on my own. So I learned a few new things. But yeah, I mean, I work with a bunch of people that were the same as the first one, and then I work with some new people. So I mean, I'm always learning new things from people. But also with music, it's almost like there's nothing really behind the curtain, like in the sense of like no one is magical at what they are, but everyone has different strengths. And so yeah, I learned little bits and pieces from different people, but it was really fun to make.
No, that's awesome. I think it's really cool that you've gotten to work with the same people, but you've also gotten to kind of meet new people and learn from them as well. I think it's so important in
Yeah,
music that you're just constantly learning, because
yeah,
even like coming from like my side to where I'm more behind the scenes and I'm kind of just writing about the music that I hear from other people, I'm constantly learning from everyone at the Honey Pop. I'm like, no, like you wrote that, like how did you come up with that word? Like that was really good. And it's just like I love the
yeah.
collaboration aspect of things.
I think that's very natural, and that's what I feel like. That's what successful people do. Like they learn from other people. Like if you're trying to, and something that I do as well. Like I'm always trying to learn. If I hear a song that I like, it's kind of like ruined music for me because if I hear something that I like, I'm trying to figure out why I like it. You know what I mean? And there is so much to learn. I view it like anything, and maybe you are the same with writing. It's like you can have your own inspiration, your own creativity, but there is like a form. There's a form you have to learn in any craft you do. And the thing that I tried to do, and I always had the ideas flowing down, the creativity, but I had to find a form that it fit in. And I think you find the form by studying, or not studying, more like listening to other people or asking a friend, how did you do that? Analyzing the chords, why does that work? And then you can put your creativity in form. Otherwise, it sort of feels like a shot in the dark to make anything good. So I think I'm the same as you. I'm always trying to figure out why something works, that I can kind of expand that little bucket that I put all the ideas in. You know what I mean?
No, definitely, definitely. And I think that's what I love about the music industry so much. Like I'm a photographer as well, and so I'm I know the basics. I know the basics, and then I see like these amazing photographers on these tours, or just kind of
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, we're just a publication photographers. I do it for fun." And I'm just like, "But your art is beautiful." I was like, "Where how did you even think to like make that
Mm.
on like when they're on stage because it's so quick. Like we only have so long." And then they
Yeah.
just edit
Yeah.
it later and I'm like, "How did you think to make that edit? Like that was so beautiful." And they're just like, "Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
love it."
I think it's, I know what you're talking about. I think it's like with creativity stuff. It's like, I think of it like the people who are like, they make it look seamless. They usually have some sort of talent to start with. Like, you got to be good at the thing you're doing. And then I think the difference is that some people, this is how I think of it, is like some people like they just do it all the time. They're obsessed with it. And like, that when we have our weekends where we're like, I'm gonna take that time off, that's when they're diving into their photography and they're going out and filming, shooting a koala in a tree or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they don't stop and they just kind of, but I think so much of it is like there's a little bit of innate talent with some people, right? Like I feel like we're all good at different things. You got to find that thing. So yeah, I'm on the same train as you with that.
Definitely. I think the music
Yeah.
industry and everything is so cool. I love how everything works together as well. Like I think it's
Mm.
we all have our different strengths and like I could never write music. So I like being able to listen to people who write music and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like how did you put that into words? Or like that riff is really
Yeah.
cool. And I'm like, I could never do that, but I really respect and love that you guys can do it.
Yeah, no, well, I appreciate you writing about
Yeah, of course. It's it's my talent, so I get to help in that way.
it. That's great.
So your vulnerability shines through like your lyrics with Be All Right and How Do I Say Goodbye. And though the subject matter is like vastly different between the two, the first is touching on a breakup, the other has to do with your dad, who is thankfully now in remission. Is is it more nerve-wracking to release a song like the latter, where a really sensitive family issue is at the focus, compared to like a relationship, or do you kind of see them both as like a natural part of like healing and helping someone out there get through a tough time?
Yeah, well, I think it was easier to release How Do I Say Goodbye because my dad's in remission and it was all good. And I wrote the song about not knowing if he was going to be okay, and he was okay. So, it's easier for me to talk about it because then I can tell him he can read the comments and it's. So if something, if that would turned out to be a different situation, it would have been very different. How do I release that? I was more nervous about putting out Be Alright than putting out How Do I Say Goodbye. Um, yeah, I was much more nervous about that one. But yeah, I don't know. I think I learned early that I had a song called Half a Man. And I'm not very like, I don't think I'm a very emotionally vulnerable guy in my life. I think I just do it through songs. But I had this song called Half a Man that says, How am I supposed to love you when I don't love who I am? And I remember I was about to put it out. And I was like, oh my God, what are my friends going to say? People are going to be like, this is so weird, way too emotional and open. And then everyone loved it and they connected with it and people were like coming up to me at shows, and so I was like, oh, okay, cool. So when you are vulnerable with something in music and in art, it connects to people. So I don't shy away from that. And even if I have that little cringe of like, oh God, it's something I wouldn't really say in real life, I'll sit on the piano and scream it into a crowd. You know what I mean? Fine. It's fine for me because that's what you need to do. So yeah, it's fine. I don't really get that nervous about it now. It's like let's just do it.
No, that's good. I think the music so I like all music. I'm a fan of like pretty much everything. There are definitely some things where I'm like, not I don't gravitate towards it, but I respect it. I see where they're coming from. But I think the ones that I like feel the most are the ones when they're super vulnerable, because a lot of times
Mm.
it's you're you're taking like diary entries out of my personal diary sometimes, even though we didn't go through the same thing. We're going through very similar things, and you guys write about stuff in such a broad. So
Mm.
I think it's really beautiful how you are that vulnerable. Even if you aren't kind of in your daily
Mm.
life, you are kind of in your songwriting. And I think that's why people gravitate towards you, is because you are so vulnerable and it's very hard to be. It's not easy.
Yeah, yeah. Totally. And it's hard for me to be vulnerable as well, but it's like that's the way to connect. Like I've been in these things where like you throw into these rooms with these kind of big writers, and they'll say to you like, let's make it more general. Like let's make it more general. Don't make it so specific to you. And every time I've done that, it's ended up being so bad. Like because it doesn't mean anything. Songwriting is selfish. It is a selfish thing. You have to do it. I do it for me when I write the song. It's about what I'm going through. It's about what I like, and it's got to be real to me. And those are the songs that have really connected with people. When I try to make it more general, or I listen to other people and they're like, let's not talk about that thing. Let's make it so people can interpret it as a relationship thing. I mean, that can work and it does work. And if you get it right, it really can work. But I would say it's much more, you water it down so much. So it's the success that I've had really from just being really specific to me. And then you release it and then it's not yours anymore. You got to be selfish to get it out. And then once it's out, it can hopefully help people if it's good.
Oh no, I agree. I agree completely. I think it's I just like the vulnerability and then the fact that you feel, I mean, it's hard, definitely, but you feel somewhat comfortable doing it now, like to an extent. And sometimes
Yeah,
like, oh, I don't know if I want to release
yeah,
that song. Like that's a little too personal. But I like
yeah,
it helps kind of seeing other people go through similar things that you might be going through in your life. And it's not this exact same, but we can always put ourselves in it and be like, okay, we're not alone. It's going to be fine.
yeah,
They're fine. Sometimes when a really sad
yeah,
song comes up, I'm like, okay, are you okay? Are you okay now? Like I know you wrote that maybe a year
yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah, it's funny that. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's almost like yeah, it's like, when you break up with someone, that's and then you listen to sad songs, you really listen to the lyrics. You know what I mean? And then if you have, like that's when you really listen, you're like, oh my God, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
So I wanted to um kind of still touch on How Do I Say Goodbye because that's one of my favorite songs,
Yeah.
by the way. Like I think it's such a beautiful, beautiful song. And it's touched so
Thank
many
you.
people. And so you've gotten to share it with your dad, and you even got to share the emotional video of him hearing it for the first time. And now that he's in remission and he got to perform with you on stage. So how special is it that you've gotten to kind of write this song about a very, very like hard thing that you've been going through with your family, and then getting to share that with him
Yeah.
throughout the steps of releasing and performing with him?
I mean, yeah, it's been incredible. I mean, I wrote the song not knowing if Dad was gonna, because the doctors gave him like a really small chance of living past a year. I think it was like 20%. And he had this pre-leukemia that was very, and he had the bad the type of it. And so it wasn't very, so we got a stem cell transplant. And when I wrote the song, we didn't know which way it was going to go. And it was only living past a year, like 2 years wasn't even there was even worse percentages. So we got the stem cell transplant and it saved his life. And yeah, and it's incredible because, you know, I got to experience putting the song out and my dad being here to listen to he's coming to shows. He's seeing people, he's seeing people cry to it, all the comments on YouTube. He's seeing all this stuff. So yeah, it was really special. And then I obviously got to bring him on stage when I played in Sydney, and he was so nervous about that. But I was like, this is going to be so cool. And there's a video on YouTube of him coming over on stage. It was such a cool moment, but something that is like almost an alternate reality. But yeah, it's been the song kind of feels like it's almost saved me as well because I had a big song 3 years ago, 5 years ago, Be Right came out, and then it was like just nothing was working, no songs were connecting. But there was one thing my best mate Mick said, which was, "Great art always finds a way." And so I always had this hope. I'm like, no matter what, if this is the best song I've got. So and I put it out, and it found a way, and found a way on TikTok randomly, but that's how it all happened. And it's just been so amazing to sort of feel like I'm back, you know what I mean? And I also have more perspective on stuff because I know 1 second you're hot and you're blowing up, the next second you're down, no one cares for a few years. And then if you keep going, you can have another moment. And I know this moment's not going to last because there'll be another down period. But then, if you just keep writing great stuff and you keep trying, you can break through, you know what I mean? So it's given me a lot of perspective. I feel like I'm having success and having a hit song now, is like, oh, I get this a little bit more. I don't have all the answers, but I get what I know where I am in the state of everything, and I know how it's probably going to go up and down, and I feel excited and a bit more in reality now, which is cool.
No, I love that because I think it's really true. Like the music industry is really fickle. So is like kind of pop culture area. It's kind of fickle and with social media, everything dies
Mm.
down so quickly. But what I kind of
Yeah.
tell everyone when I'm speaking to them is that just don't give up. Like if this is what you really care about and this is what you really want to do with your life, don't don't give up because yes, you can have a hit and it can kind of like now it's kind of going down a little bit, but it's like if you just keep practicing, keep writing, and you keep like releasing things, something else is going to hit because you are very, very
Yeah.
talented. Like you have
Oh, so
like an incredible voice. You have like these lyrics that really hit you in your feels. Like you have
yeah,
like you just keep going and you're gonna get to
yeah.
the point that you want. So I just
That's very nice of you. No, I think that's really good advice, and I think a lot of people yeah, need to hear that because like it does success. It does kind of go up and down, and when you're getting that huge hit and you're getting billions of streams, and like it's the first time, and you think everything's going to be like that, and then it's like, well, no, the next one might not be, but if you keep going and you stick to what you do and you try to write great stuff that's real to you, and you don't take a day off and you live in unhappiness because it's a little bit of success is that as well. It's like you got to keep going. You got to be going nonstop. Eventually, you get those songs because you know those songs that are like those weird 10 out of 10 little. They have like a sprinkle of some little bit of magic on them. They're so hard to get. You know, it really is a. You know, I feel like I've been writing songs for probably 10 years, really like, aggressively and really pursuing it aggressively. 10 years and I've probably had I think four of those now, like where I have they got a little sprinkle of something, but I've probably written even ideas, like if you just think of ideas, probably I mean thousands of ideas, and probably 1,000 songs, you know what I mean, like over time. So yeah, it is possible, but those songs come once every couple of years, and you can have these 9 out of 10s or these like 8 out of 10s that like they're almost magic. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like everything on this song sounds great, but it's missing that little sprinkle of whatever that thing is that makes it like a universal connection. Um, and then there are other variables too about timing. When you release it, what other singer songwriters are around? Is Ed Sheeran putting an album out? You know what I mean? If I put a single out around the time that Ed Sheeran and Shawn Mendes put an album out, I'm probably in trouble. You know what I mean? Um, so there's a lot of other variables that come into play. Who's going to support you at that time when you put the song out? You catch a TikTok trend now. You can have now it's weird because you can have the best song in the world, and it can catch a trend on TikTok and become, or it doesn't, and then you have the best song you've ever written, and then everyone's going, it didn't go on TikTok. We got to move on to the next one. And you're like, no, but this is the song, right? Like people don't care. And then your most average song you wrote can from 2 years ago can blow up on TikTok. It's a weird time right now, but I do think that the fundamental truth of great art always finds a way. It's always in the back of my mind. And no matter what, it doesn't have to be a hit. It can be a small hit. It can be big in a small. It can be big in Denmark. You know what I mean? In a small country. Yeah, but just yeah, it is possible for all this stuff to happen. So yeah.
yeah, definitely. I think something that I've kind of learned just from talking to so many different artists from like all walks of life and from like they're super tiny and they haven't really gotten that hit yet all the way to like people who have gotten those hits. And my thing is always um just keep going because when you just because one song made like a billion streams or whatever, like whatever that number was for you doesn't mean
Mm.
your next song didn't hit someone. Like just because
Mm.
it didn't do those numbers, there's still someone who loves that song so much.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. It's just hard to disconnect from
Hmm.
the reality. And in general. I mean, I know how to sell that stuff, but in general, a song that really connects, like it doesn't have to get a billion streams, but like if it's a great song, it still should hit a couple of hundred. Like it should just connect on a bigger level. Like those billion stream songs, I think there's only like 350 of them in ever. You know what I mean? So to have one of those is great, but it also skews your reality of success because you go, oh, okay. Um, you go, you know, as an artist, I mean, this is such a weird, it's not a problem, but you could go, oh, the new song's got 250 million streams. That is literally insane. Like that's crazy. But when you're a lot of when you hit a billion, it's like your level of success is like in your mind, it's like, oh, everything's kind of not reaching up. But I mean, nowadays it's different because songs seem to come and go much quicker because of TikTok. Like it kind of they burn a lot faster. I think a lot of artists talk about this. So now it's like, I think now if you hit half a billion streams, it's almost like the equivalent of like a billion now. It's like it's an incredible success. So yeah, I love all the things you're saying about that stuff. I kind of agree.
Yeah. Um, so kind of getting away from like heavier topics, this is like just a fun question. So you drank a lot of iced Americanos during the making of The Hardest Love. If you could have a coffee named after one of your songs, which song would you choose and what kind of coffee would it be?
Okay, it'd be called the hardest Americano instead of the hardest love. I call it the hardest Americano, and it would just be like the most bitter, black tasting coffee you could think of. And it would be the hardest Americano instead of the hardest love. Good
I love
question.
that. I love that. I was like, let me get away from heavy topics. Like
I mean, that's yeah.
So you're heading out for the Futures Bright tour in Australia, New Zealand,
Yeah.
Europe, and the UK. So what are you most
And Canada.
excited?
Now we
Oh,
just
and
announced Canada as well.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Canada. Yeah, we literally just announced it, and also we're about to announce America as well, so North America.
Oh my
What was
gosh.
your question? Sorry. Well,
So what are you most excited for about this upcoming tour?
okay. Well, what's crazy is, like the shows are insane. Like you watch people as you know, I've watched other artists and people, and I go, why, they're doing these huge shows like arenas, and like I go, and sometimes it's a hard thing as an artist when you keep grinding and you kind of doing these like 2,000 capacity venues, which are incredible. But you kind of go, oh, is it going to happen? Am I going to get to that point? And on this tour, like I've already sold out a bunch of arenas. Like it's crazy. So, in Cologne, we just announced we just sold out 5,000 capacity. We're putting it up to 10,000 in amphitheater. So, and that's going to sell out, So in Denmark, I'm playing the Royal Arena and that's 17,000 people. And I'm going, this is the moment that I've been dreaming of my whole life. And, you know, it's a hard kind of thing because you never feel like you belong. You always feel like you're chasing something. And like, if you can always look up wherever you are in life, you can always look up and go, oh my God, this is insane. But Ed Sheeran's doing stadiums, you know what I mean? You got all like, he sold it out in a day and I sold mine out in 3 months. And, and I'm not necessarily competing with Ed Sheeran. There's no competition there. But I mean, it's hard when you're always looking up. So what I'm trying to do now is to appreciate what's happening. And yeah, I think I'm just really excited to play these venues and go, wait, 10,000 people came to see me. If this might be the biggest it ever gets, because it's not guaranteed to keep going like this. Although that's the plan. So I just am really excited to get out there and to see that, to go, because you play festivals and there's all these people there, but they're not really there to see you. Some are, but it's going to be cool to get out there and be like, no, everyone's here these people are here to see me. This is insane. It's a lot of people.
It definitely is a lot of people, and that's really exciting because I've been waiting. And also, I'm very excited that you are about to announce the North America dates because I will be at one of them. I
You've got
have
to
to,
come and say hi.
yes, I will have to figure out
Yes,
which one is closest to me. So if you have a Texas date, much preferred.
we will
If
do. There
not,
will be a Texas date. Yes, there
okay,
will be
good.
for sure.
Good. I will travel to wherever in Texas. It's very exciting. Yeah, oh my gosh. I'm actually really excited for you because I think that's you're moving up in kind of the touring aspect. And being able to just see your fans, I think is going to be really great for you, just like across the world too.
Yeah,
Because it's like, how insane is it? Like you're going to Europe, like, and you're selling out places in Europe. Like you're
yeah.
from
It's
Australia.
crazy. It's crazy.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
I
and not
love
man,
how
no
global.
Australian artists. It's weird. Like no Australian artists sell out these kind of venues, and weirdly, I sell out venues that are much bigger in Europe than I do in Australia. So it makes no sense. But and it's weird. Some places you blow up, and other places like in America, the American tours that I'm that doing, they're only theaters, but Then I go to Europe and we're doing 5, 10,000 capacity to 17,000. It's like it's really really different where it's all happening. But yeah, I think it's great. I mean, in America to be doing theaters and to be selling those out, that's an incredible place as well. It's America is just so hard to break. It's so big. But if you go, I'm breaking in Europe and we have huge moments in the UK and Australia. It's all good. You know what I mean? Like life's great. Um, yeah, and I have the best band in the world and a really good crew and good people around me, and my brother comes on. It's just going to be great. It's going to be really fun. So
I
can't wait.
love that. I love that. I love how global music is because like as you said, you're from Australia. Like how like you're going to all these different places that you might have never been before. And all these people are like, I
Yeah,
want to see you. And you're like, how do you know I exist? Like,
I
how
know.
do you
Yeah, you
know?
live in like yeah these kind of strange places you've never heard of. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
are incredible.
yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally agree.
No, I think it's really cool. So for one of our last questions, we kind of like to give you the floor again to kind of I mean, we kind of gone over like your music and then also your touring. Is there anything else that you want the Honey Pop viewers to go and like check out? Or um like if there's a specific platform or if there's like just anything.
Yeah, I try to I post a lot on TikTok, but like my Instagram's where I try to like actually like it's not just so like here's all my stuff that's happening. I post a bit more about personal stuff. So probably check my Instagram out if you want. And yeah, thanks for listening to my music.
All right, so that was our interview with Dean Lewis. As you can see, he's just very lovely. We really loved getting to speak with him and learning more about him and learning about his music and kind of what's coming up. And then also speaking about his tour, which we hope we will see you at very, very soon. He is getting to play some really big venues now, and we're just honored to get to speak with him and get to know him, and also very, very proud of him for how far he's come. And yeah, so we're gonna have all of his links down below. We hope you will be out to one of his shows, his upcoming shows, and when North America is announced, we will also be at one of those shows, and we are very excited about it. So we're gonna have his links down below. Definitely go follow him. Go follow him on TikTok and all those kind of things. Go buy his album, The Hardest Love. And also, we're gonna have our links down below as well. And we would love for you to come and follow us and come chat with us about Dean and everything. Um, just anything, honestly. We love getting to chat with everyone. And also we have our Discord link down below as well. That is a place where you can come and we can talk about anything pop culture. Like literally anything pop culture. We're probably already talking about it in there. All of the new music releases, movies, TV, podcasts, gaming even. Like we just love everything pop culture, and the Honey Pop Discord is a place where you can come and feel welcome and make friends and talk about everything that you love about pop culture and basically anything else too. But yeah, so we hope to see you in Discord or over on one of our socials. We would love to speak with you and we would love to be friends. And so thank you so much for watching this far. If you enjoyed it, definitely comment down below and give us a like. And then yeah, we see you in our next interview.